Welcome to the ATP Project. You're with your host, Steve and Jeff. Steve, today, very interesting podcast. I'm not even really sure what to call it other than maybe the end of an era.
Yeah.
Because today, being the 400th podcast, is also my last podcast.
I know.
Which is, I think few people in the industry knew that that Tony and I had stepped down from the company. Mm-hmm. And we wanted to, and we'll get into that.
Yep.
And I think we'll use this as a bit of an opportunity. I think Matt's got some stuff queued up as well too to go through some of the highlights and / lowlights of the company. So here we are sitting, and it's funny because I know these podcasts come out a little bit behind, and we've actually done a bit of a bank to sort of get us through. But we're sort of mid 2023, and we started doing these podcasts in 2015, if I remember correctly. But
yes, 2015, 23rd of February.
23rd of February.
Yeah.
Steve, your memory's like that.
It was just on the screen.
Oh, it's just on the screen. Okay.
It was on the screen.
Right. But so Steve,
yes,
mate, it's been a long journey.
It's massive.
We've had a lot of fun.
Yeah.
There's been some great moments. There's been some bad moments.
Yeah.
I mean, there's been some really sad stuff that's happened as well too.
Yeah.
But I've absolutely loved being a part of the podcast, and I think where do you want to start? Because why? So Tony and I are obviously not just stepping down from the ATP project. We're stepping down from ATP Science, and a lot of people are going to go, so why?
Yeah.
What's going on? What's happened? And we'll get to that.
Yeah.
We'll get to that. We'll get to the why.
I think we should start with the just a bit of the company history, because there'll be people after 400 episodes didn't listen to the first one.
Sure.
Maybe
they're here for a bit of gossip. Maybe they're here for a bit of the inside scoop. Well, I guess, and look, for those of you who know Steve and I and know the company and know where we came from, I guess maybe we should go right back. Probably where I started from was I was always passionate about sport, and I knew not a great deal about nutrition. Mum, Scottish, haggis, knew nothing. Dad was born in 1923. Yeah. So he brought up in a boarding school, served in the Second World War, was discharged, sent home to die. It was just, but what I mean by that is that there wasn't much education. There wasn't a very good understanding of nutrition and all the rest of it. Long story short, got into sport, and nearly died. Drank like an absolute fish. So I was completely unhealthy. I lived on 2-minute noodles and alcohol. I used to live with a bunch of mates of mine in Woodridge, and I used to save up all of my money. I used to work at Maya at the Sporting Edge, and I'm not kidding. Do you remember that? Anyway, Mum and Dad went back to New Zealand when I was 18, so I sort of went on my own. And literally this is not really much of there's not much embellishment here. I lived on 2-minute noodles and saved as much of my money as possible to go out to ladies' night, which was on Wednesday nights, right? I know. It's pathetic. I was pathetic.
Ladies' nights.
Thursday night, uni student nights. All my mates were uni students. Yeah. Actually, one of my mates ended up becoming a engineer and worked for NASA. What did he study? I forget what he studied. It was basically rocket science. It was bloody brilliant.
Aeronautical engineering?
Yeah. And worked on GPS, satellite, all that sort of stuff as well too. It's super cool. One of my mates who got busted for smoking marijuana and all the rest of it ended up in the federal police. I'm kidding you not.
I was going to say in federal court.
No, federal police. And
boy.
Brad, one of my other mates, went over to the States and very successful in IT and all the rest of it.
Good.
So we started off just bumps. Yeah. Like really. And I just drank and nearly drank myself to death. Like I was a classic binge drinker. And I wound up in hospital. I remember feeling sick one day when I was at work, and I went to hospital, and man, I thought I felt terrible. Went to Logan Hospital, which is literally
just down the road,
300 meters from where we are now.
Wow.
And I remember getting wheeled into the operating theatre thinking, man, I could die.
Yeah.
And I was 20. I'm going to say I was 20.
Yeah.
And I thought, right, if I get out of this, I'm going to change my life.
Wow.
And long story short, I did. I nearly died. Yeah. I got an infection. I had to go back in for a second surgery.
Jeez.
But it brought me to one of those points where I went, well, this is just stupid. So I came out of there. I went in, and I was doing a bit of gym and that sort of stuff, but seriously, didn't really know what I was doing. Went in at 90 kilos. I came out at 64 kilos, right? I was skin and bone.
And you're tall. This is for people who are listening. You're a tall man. You're 6 foot.
6'3". So, I was 6'2".
Yeah.
I think in terms of that was a massive wake up call. So I started to get interested in health. So very shortly after that, I just started training. I started to learn more about eating, and that started me down the track of wanting to get better. Anyway, very, very long story short. After Tony and I got married, we nearly got bankrupted because we were at work. I was working as a project manager in the cattle industry. Came back and went, what the crap am I going to do?
Yeah.
I remember actually sitting there going and watching the planes flying into the Twin Towers just after we
2001,
had. Yep. Just after we'd come back and just going, I don't know what to do. So I took $3,000 from Tony's mum's credit card.
Oh, okay.
And opened up I'm not kidding, smaller than this boardroom, about a 3 metre by 4 metre room down at Springwood Gym here in Queensland. It's called Lifestyles now. And there was this tiny little sweat box that faced west in the car park. And opened up a little supplement store, started buying Optimum and Max's, Musashi. Yeah. Those were all the big brands back then, right? So, and started selling it. The first week that I was open, I got a call from the landlord going, hey, Jeff, I don't want to alarm you, but I've just come to the gym, and there was a side window that went into a pool that sort of, and he goes, that window's open, mate. Did you leave it open? And I said, no, I didn't. So I rushed down there. What had happened is somebody had climbed over the fence into the pool area and then had climbed up onto a window and had opened the window and had got in and had stolen about half of my stuff. Probably more, to be honest. Had a little bit of stuff on tick, but most of it I'd paid for. So, it would have bankrupted me.
Yes.
Right? I had a cover note. That was all I had. I rang up, had a cover. They covered me.
Oh.
If they hadn't have covered me, I would have absolutely been gone.
Gone, yeah.
So that was in May of 2002 we opened that store. From 2002 through to about 2010, grew the company to I think about the pinnacle was around about $750,000 a month in sales from the website and from coming in, which is massive, right? Yeah. 250,000 through the door. But I became very despondent with all of the artificial sweeteners, all the stuff. I started learning a lot, and it was all about aesthetics and bodybuilders and working with athletes and all the rest of it. But the more that I studied around Ace K, the more that I understand about synthetic colors and flavors and all the rest of it, I fell out of love. I just went from one moment going, this is great, love this business, looking to franchise. Actually, I did franchise it to one of my staff members who then completely screwed me over, turned up with lawyers and oh man, I don't want to tell you the heartbreak over that, but I tell you, I mean, like in terms of heartbreak, had a manager that stole $160,000 out of me on the year that I started ATP Science, because I started focusing on ATP, and I'll get to where we get to that in a minute. But so in that year, we had a website that we custom built. Actually, another company that I won't mention, we were supposed to have an exclusive because we put all the bells and whistles into that website. This is way back in 2004, 2005. And it was a great website. And they sold it to a major competitor who became one of the most major competitors in the industry
and
at that
still
time.
Around now?
Yeah, I think so.
Okay.
Nice guy. I don't actually have a problem. I actually ended up selling him stuff with ATP Science.
Okay.
So, and the thing is that wasn't his fault. That was the company that I was dealing with, right? But, actually, it was Mr. Supplement, and he's a nice guy. Yeah. So it's and he was just we became friendly. So like there was no harm on his fault. But we created a website. They then sold the template. They took all of our ideas and sold it to him. So he became our major competitor. But as the business went through, we decided to go with one website. We should have gone with Magento, because back in the time before Shopify and all the rest of it, that was the gold standard.
Magento, right.
We didn't. We went with this other one because they said, we're going to match you dollar for dollar. We're going to give you bells and whistles. You're going to be the global standard. And the website completely failed. We went from the first page of Google to about the 8th page. The guys that were implementing it did nothing. Tony and I were overseas in Fiji at the time when they did it. We said that it had to be done at the beginning, around the middle of December, because that's typically a very quiet period. Yeah. So gave us the ability. We had to be here, all that sort of stuff. The site had to be back. They didn't do any of that. So it absolutely tanked the business. Just as we were opening ATP Science, just as this other guy was stealing money from us. So the whole thing just completely collapsed. Tony and I sold the business. With ATP Science, we just got that up. We put $60,000 into ATP Science. This is in about 2012, and we were paying all of the staff out of TSD, which is the name of the company that we had.
Can we say the name of it?
Yeah, the supplement den.
Yeah, I didn't know.
TSD, yeah. It was about $300,000, because I looked at it the other day. The business loaned about $300,000 to ATP to pay staff and all the rest of it. And then we ended up selling the business, and Tony and I still owed $400,000 after we'd sold everything. So I was $400,000 in debt with a fledgling business, just been ripped off by somebody that I trusted, literally, with employed his family and just, and just sat there and just went, holy snipe. Actually had bankruptcy papers going, how am I going to get out of this?
And starting a business, and I hate to say this, statistically, they normally fail.
They do,
so, they're just normal. Most businesses fail.
Yeah. So this was about 2012, I think it was, or around then, 2013. I think it was right at the beginning of 2013. And we're just sitting there just going, we're not going to make it through. And I think I've told the story before, but Tony came to me one day and said, Jeff, we don't have enough money to pay wages and to pay the rent. And I said, well, how much money do you need? And I think she said she needs something like $3,500 or something like that. And I'm like, So I jumped online and I played a poker tournament online, and I won $5,000. It was only a little one, but still, that's what kept it was literally that close to.
I didn't know you were going to say that story.
To collapsing. It was so close. So it was absolute touch and go. But we started the business because we genuinely wanted to create products that worked. We wanted to make sure that they're properly dosed. And I know a lot of companies say that, and that's a load of horse crap. Most companies they say it because they would sell their grandmother to make a buck. Now, there are some great companies out there that absolutely do. Yeah. But how do you separate the wheat from the chaff? It's very difficult to know, right?
It is difficult. I mean, when I look at bottles and that sort of thing, and also we've got to talk about this, but is what's on the label in the bottle?
Yeah, well,
that's it. That's a question that we need to think, but it is very difficult to discern.
And it could even be with regards to the certificate of analysis where you get the ingredients from as well too. But anyway, look, the idea was that it had to be safe for my son and safe for my mum, and that I wanted athletes to use it, and we just had a very earnest idea of what we wanted to create. And we really worked hard on creating good value for the retailers, because at that stage, the margins were okay, but not great. And I think we were one of the first companies in Australia to come in and give really decent margins, because we were working on relatively thin margins ourselves. Anyway, long story short, in 2012, we incorporated the company, and by 2016, we were starting to win awards. I think we won. We even beat Optimum Nutrition as Brand of the Year. Nutrition Warehouse, I think, was the premier sort of, and Massive Joe's as well too, were the premier sort of awards that you wanted. Sure. And we actually beat Optimum Nutrition. Well, now, for those that don't know Optimum Nutrition, they're a global juggernaut owned by Glanbia, and we actually beat them one year. And I think the next year we came runner-up. Wow. Which, very, very proud of that. We won Male Product of the Year, Female Product of the Year. We won, so many things that we did were really different, were iconic. When we came into the industry as well too, people were largely selling proteins, and pre-workouts were obviously starting to rise. But we gave them things like Cord RX, which is an adrenal product, which I actually did a deal with Simon Rees from ASN. Hey. And this is one of those moments, it's like, is this going to work? Do people going to understand it? Why should you look after your adrenals? And especially when we're selling into the sports industry. And Simon goes, Jeff, I'll take it on, but I want an exclusive. I think he said he wanted an exclusive for 6 months. Right. So we were like, well, we were nobody. Yeah. So I said, okay, mate, if you're going to support it, that'd be great. So anyway, he took it on. And they blew up with it. They absolutely blew up. They were selling everyone that was coming in, especially when they were saying that their pre-workout wasn't working. The guys at ASM were selling them some QuadRx, and they were getting excellent results because obviously their adrenals were fried, right?
Yes.
They were taking too many stims, and there was no recovery. There was no restitution for their adrenals, Steve.
Yeah, you know what bodybuilders are like. They're nuts. They just want the more
and
of
more.
everything. Yeah.
Yeah.
Now I've got to ask you a question without notice. Speaking of pre-workouts, you at the start contracted someone to make a pre-workout, didn't you?
Well, yeah. Well,
You know where I'm going.
I do. I'll come back to that. What I was going to say, though, with Simon is that, it blew up, right? Yeah. So it was going crazy. Huge. And I was just and we were starting to improve as a brand. People were starting to say, well, hang on a minute. Why has he got this exclusive and why can't we have it? So I had to go back to Simon and say, so after about 3 months, Simon, can I buy back the next 3 months exclusive for you? And he was very gracious, and he said, Jeff, no worries, just give me a sweetheart deal going forward and sell it off, because he understood as well too, right? I was just getting hammered. And Court became one of our most successful products. That was later banned and has now become adrenal. And we'll get into the whole TGA issue in a minute as well.
Can't wait.
Too. Oh, that's fun. But yeah, we did. I mean, and this is the thing as well too. When we didn't manufacture ourselves when we started. We actually were manufacturing overseas, and there's two stories. We're manufacturing with a company, I can't mention the name, very, very popular back in the mid 2010s, if that makes sense. And they were manufacturing a lot of people's products here as well too. First issue is we had a product called Infrared, and we had it manufactured overseas, and they were importing it. We were importing it. I got the product. We'd waited months for it. We got the product, opened it up, and straight away there was a really strange smell. It was I can't really describe it. Quite a sweet smell. I don't know how to. Anyway, so I took a scoop.
Contains sugar.
It's got sugar, and I didn't have honey then.
No, they're dextrose.
But it had beta alanine and all this sort of stuff. Anyway, shook it up and drank it. Now, I never get headaches, and I think I boast about that all the time. Within about, I don't know, less than 5 minutes, I had a horrible headache on either side. Ooh. So I actually rang up Matt at the time and said, Matt, what's going on? He goes, that doesn't sound right. He goes, Jeff, do me a favour. And Matt was the formulator and our partner at the time. He said, open up the lid, have a look on the inside, and see if there's any burnt plastic. I'm like, why would there be burnt plastic? And he goes, well, typically when you're putting a seal on, what happens is they use heat to seal the lid. Yep. Anyway, I opened it up. Sure enough, it nearly cut my finger. It was all burnt and melted, and it actually melted parts of the plastic. So what had happened, Steve? Yes. Formaldehyde. So as the plastic had released, the formaldehyde had infused into the powder. So I rang them up. And I even recorded their calls. Now, they're in the US. We're on the bones of our ass, right? We had no money left, and I couldn't sell this stuff. Yeah. And they go, look, send it back to us, or we'll pick it up, no cost to you. We'll aerate it, get rid of the formaldehyde, and send it back to you. I'm just like, no way are you going to do that. We're going to dump the stuff, you're going to make a fresh batch, and you're going to send it over here. Now, Jimmy was his name. He was actually a really nice guy, but his boss was tyrant. Yeah. And mate, I am pulling out. I'm going to sue you. I said I'm going to go and all the rest of it, because at the end of it, thank God my bluff pulled off, but they made a fresh batch and sent it over. That would have been the death of the business.
That would have been death.
That would have been. We would have died on that as well too.
Because you can't sell formaldehyde. Now, formaldehyde's a toxin that causes cancer. It's what you preserve bodies in. It's a trichlorinated hydrocarbon. It's disgusting.
I remember sharing this story at the time, and what was great for us, and I didn't actually realise it, is that a lot of people went, geez, guys, a lot of companies would have just aerated that and repackaged it and sold it. And they said, and that got us a lot of fans by doing the right thing, which we would always do the right thing, right? Yeah. Sometimes it costs you. But anyway, that was another one. And the second one that you're talking about is that
this is my favourite story.
I was one day, we'd launched a product called Limitless, which was a fat burner made by the same company overseas, because we'd sorted out the relationship. They'd done the right thing. So we're like, okay, great. Anyway, I got a call from Fazance. Actually, it was Queensland Health. Yes. That gave me a call. And I remember sitting in the car park, and she said, hi, Jeff. Such and such from Queensland Health. Just want to let you know that we've conducted a recent study on pre-workouts here in Australia. We've collected 50 different pre-workouts and we have tested them. And I regret to inform you that your product has tested positive for amphetamines. Now, I just went, I mean, like everything I stand against, right? Here, and this is the thing, right? This is the thing you don't know that manufacturers are doing. Now, is that people would take it, they'd get a freaking great result.
Yes.
They'd feel, thank you very much.
Yes.
And then they would continue to buy that product.
Very much
it's
so.
Cheap and it works. And, you know, anyway, I just died. I thought, I'm going to jail.
Well, yeah,
I
you're
said,
selling amphetamines.
I better shave my legs.
It's a prescription drug.
Yeah. Well, you know, I just thought, you know, this is not going to be pretty.
Yeah.
And I said, okay, what are next steps? And she said, well, the product needs to be, you know, deleted, and you know, we need to ensure, you know, safety for the public. Obviously, the amounts were below a certain threshold because there was no recall.
Yeah.
And I had actually said, look, and this was honest as well too. We had actually just about sold out, and we were going to actually start manufacturing here in Australia.
Right.
And we did. I think we went down to Troy and Christine, and we were sort of manufacturing with them.
Right.
That's not international, Prestige anyway. Yeah. So we're going to bring it back in house. This is before we started manufacturing ourselves.
Yeah.
And that was probably one of the worst moments because I was just like, oh my God, I had no idea.
You're
right?
selling amphetamine.
Of the 50, and this is the interesting thing, right? This is the thing about Australian products versus US products. Yeah. Of the 50 that they tested, she said about half failed.
Oh my goodness.
About half.
Oh.
And I asked her, I said, was that predominantly US? She goes, all US.
Right.
So obviously this company was probably making the lion's share of products that were coming into Australia, right? So they were loading it up with amphetamines.
And getting, you know, when you take amphetamines, I don't think I've ever taken amphetamines consciously.
No.
But I imagine you'd feel amazing.
Yeah.
You know, you would.
Yeah. So we, anyway, we got past that, started manufacturing everything ourselves, opened up our own facility, you know, grew there, and then, you know, come to, I think 2019, we were just flying. We had a lot of support from retailers, and, you know, thank you if any of you retailers are listening, because we really appreciated the support.
So 4 years ago, you're on top of the world.
Top of the world. And then got a phone call from the TGA. And what I don't want to belabor this point, but what had basically happened is because of the podcast, because we were talking about all of the attributes of the product, they'd ping the podcast as, and they changed the legislation where podcasts were considered to be part of advertising, which makes sense, right? And so the podcast basically was in breach of the advertising guidelines. A lot of the claims that we're making on the product were deemed to be and were therapeutic. So what happened at that point is we received a $300,000 fine. Our website was shut down as well too, which was making about, I don't know if I should really disclose it, but it was a lot of money per month. It was shut down to zero, and we lost all of our major brands. Alpha Mars, number one test booster in the market. We lost CordRx. We lost T432. All of our products, they were deemed to be therapeutic, so therefore, unless they were registered as an L, we could not actually sell those products. Matt and I actually flew down with our lawyer to meet with the TGA in Canberra because we were threatened with, I think it was 18 months in jail, $10 million company fine, and about a $1.5 million personal fine.
Jesus.
And I look around now, and again, I understand there's no point in complaining when you get pinged by police if you're doing 110.
Yeah.
What really frustrated me and made me very upset and angry and disillusioned in a way was seeing a crap ton of people doing 160 with no helmet on.
Correct. Yeah, that was,
and just going, well, why us? But we had probably one of the largest voices, I think, at that time. We had, I think, the number one podcast in health. It was us and Pete Evans, I think.
Pete Evans was number two.
Yeah. And I think we changed.
Yeah.
So, but that was good, and I think they were doing it to make an example. Now, obviously, we respected their laws. We respected the what had happened, but that really hurt, and it really put us back on our haunches. So
horrendously so.
Yeah.
Now, something else happened in 2019. What was that?
Well, that's interesting. That was that was the event 201, which kicked off just before COVID, obviously, which hit as well too. So, so if you can imagine the business at that time, we were flying high. We were winning all these awards. We were doing really, really well. We were innovating. Not everything that we did was brilliant, but I'll come back to, I think, probably one of our most successful launches and one of our best products.
I think I know what you're talking about.
We'll come back to that in a minute. We'd finished in the BRW, which is the Business Review Weekly Fast 100. We'd finished 13th, and all of a sudden we just got inundated with calls for investment. What I wanted to do with the business was to create a marquee factory to be able to do manufacturing, not just for ourselves, but for other people as well too, where everything was based on integrity. Focus on exporting internationally. It sounds like I really should make a network documentary of this, but we lost our FDA, our export license at the same time, and we even had the FDA audit come out here, and they said, yeah, everything's fine. You just need to change these things, and they weren't changed, and so we lost our ability to export. Now, normally that would take about 12 weeks to rectify, but that happened right in the middle of COVID.
Yes,
and so something that should have taken 12 weeks took over 18 months. Right,
well, COVID stopped
at the same time as we lost all of our marquee brand names at the same time. Now, we were talking with bodybuilding.com. Vitamin Shop in the United States as well too. I had conversations with iHerb. And once you get into the American market on major platforms like that, it improves your visibility, and that would open up the rest of the globe.
Of course.
That all collapsed.
Yeah.
So we had the fine, and we had the run-on with the TGA, which again, we were wrong. They were right. I'm not saying that, based on the laws, we were in breach. We had COVID, which obviously shut down things. We lost all of our marquee brand names at the same time. And we just broke ground on this facility.
So you just at the same process of building a massive factory.
Massive factory. $15 million alone for here, plus $10 million in equipment as well too on the bar line. It was just horrendous. Right?
It's like that movie in 1991, The Perfect Storm.
Yeah.
It was like just all these factors came to this
and look, there were other ones as well too. I remember we invested about $500,000 into expanding into the US. Actually, it was a mutual friend that, and this is where these people, man, you got to watch them. Holy cow! And he was a complete fraud. He took all of our money. He was producing bogus reports. We had some stock over there. He sold the stock, refused to give it back. It was just disgusting, right? Anyway, he's ended up bankrupt, believe it or not. It's funny, I seem to have this effect on people that have a really, come after me. Like even that other guy that stole $160K from me at the other business ended up basically homeless and destitute. No, I don't wish any bad on these people, but you kind of go, you reap what you sow, right?
Yeah, of course.
But anyway, so long story short is that really, really hurt. And we had finances at that time that obviously helped the business because we just run smack bang into a brick wall.
Massive brick wall. Now, through all that, we were still doing podcasts. And through all that, we're still, the day-to-day operation was still going, of course.
Well, there are a lot of businesses that had a lot tougher than us. So I don't want people to go, because a lot of businesses closed. A lot of the businesses that we were dealing with, about a third of them, the retail stores, a lot of them closed during that period and some never reopened.
I've got a friend
the people down in Melbourne, I mean, they got absolutely I just feel so bad for them, right? I mean, it was just absolutely, horrendous.
I'm going to Melbourne next week for holidays, see my family there, so I'm from Melbourne, boy. And, my businesses down there that were in a big shopping centre that were very successful. The shopping centre is very vacant now. The big shopping centre I grew up in, that sort of area. Even my mother wasn't allowed to leave her house for months. Only allowed outside for a while. It was catastrophic. So business would have been horrifically, affected.
We got off track. So coming back onto it, Steve. So I think in terms of where the company is now, because a lot of people are saying, how's ATP doing it? Really, really well. We changed. We obviously, one of the major projects that I was focusing on, what I focused on was the bars. Now, I always wanted to create something that didn't have a laundry list of ingredients, was as natural as I could possibly make it. And why collagen over whey protein? Collagen doesn't denature. And so you can cook with it, and it's still good. And we use Body Balance, which is the best form of collagen that you can use for building muscle tissue and increasing lean body mass and even decreasing body fat, because it increases mTOR and PPAR, which helps with building muscle and decreasing body fat. It's excellent for recovery. Most people, when they think of collagen, they think hair, skin, and nails, because that's mainly what it's been marketed for. But anyway, I guess as part of my legacy is concerned, we started several years ago with this, but we finally got to the gel bars, and there's some really cool new flavors coming there. Woolworths and Coles have got it. We've been speaking with other very large retailers. In fact, some overseas have seen this as well too, which is kind of cool. We've got the mellow bars.
Yeah, we've got marshmallow, and we've got the gel bars.
And then we've got the jewel layer bars, which are coming out really soon. Well, and they're my absolute favorite. I think and if you like the texture and all the rest of it, and again, good for my 80-year-old. Like, they're no artificial colors or flavors, and I'm very proud of those bars. And the bars are pumping here. Seriously, the guys are working long hours. They're pumping those bars in. They're going great.
Well, there's 2 shifts, isn't there? Or there was.
Yeah, I think they're doing double shifts.
Yeah. It's incredible.
Look, the whole idea of that was to obviously give people through groceries something that they could use and introduce them to the brand, right? And then we've got our sports end of our range, and then we've got our practitioner and our gut health range, which we'll come to in a minute.
Love that.
But what comes next? Well, after I'm left, we've also got a new pre-workout coming out, which I'm pretty happy with.
Can't wait for that one.
It tastes really good.
Yeah.
We've really focused on the taste. Steve, we formulated that.
Yeah, I know. That's why I can't wait for it.
And it's good.
It's really good.
And it's got a good amount of caffeine, but not too much.
No.
It's got really nice nootropic ingredients as well too.
Can we mention the name of it yet?
If we don't mention the name, we can sort of talk about what it does.
Oh, okay, good. Yeah, let's talk about what it does.
But yeah, I think that'll come out, I think, in the second half of this year. And the big thing for me is it had to be natural, no artificial colours or flavours. Most of the sweeteners that you use are very bad for you, which we've said in multiple podcasts. So if you do like the caffeine before you train, you want something, a bit of English walnut in there as well too, which I really like the way that makes you feel.
Yeah.
And it is actually English walnut, as opposed to some geranium stem.
10-to-1 extract too, so quite potent.
Give it a try. It'll come out. As I said, after I'm gone, but I'll be watching from the sidelines, cheering that one on.
You'll be having that one, won't you?
Yeah.
I mean,
But it's kind of funny, though, is that, to be honest, I actually am really getting to the point now where I actually don't like caffeine as much. I'm actually using more of the Max Lift because I don't actually, because you want the stuff that helps you to train, but I actually don't like, I actually value sleep, and I find if I train in the afternoons, which often I do,
you do,
not as much as I should. As Tony's given me a kick in the ass the other day, it's kind of funny because it's just been so stressful. I've actually got out of a lot of my rhythms and routines, and I'll talk about that in a minute too. But I don't want the caffeine. But if I'm going to train in the morning, if I need to pick me up, then the new one that's coming, absolutely.
Oh, this is the old one.
Yeah.
And I love it.
All right, Steve-O. Yeah. So where we are now, that's what's about to come. But yes, Tony and I have stepped down, but let's go back, mate. Let's talk about some of the great things that we did.
The podcast.
Matt, you mentioned the first podcast that we did was in, what's that date?
On your sheet down there.
Oh, okay.
I think it's the 23rd of February.
Do you want to just play a snippet of it? So we'll go right back to where we first started, Steve-O.
Yeah, okay.
So I think this is
Welcome to the ATP Project. This is episode 1. I'm your host, Jeff Deutsch, and in today's episode, Matt and I discuss the 3 most popular fat loss ingredients on the market today, and if they're the real deal or if they're just hype. Also, why your thyroid gland may be the difference between the body that you have and the body that you want, insulin, and its effect on fat loss, and PCOS, or polycystic ovary syndrome, plus a whole lot more.
Welcome to the ATP Project, delivering the irreverent truth about health, aging, performance, and looking good. If you're sick and tired of being sick and tired, ready to perform at your best, or somewhere in between, then sit back, relax, and open your mind as Jeff and Matt battle the status quo and discuss everything health-related that can make you better.
There you go.
You're so professional. I was expecting something more dodgy.
Well, to me, it sounds stiff. And that's funny, right? Like, because when you first go, you just go, what are we going to do? Whereas we're far more conversational now, Steve. Now, I prefer that myself now, just being conversational, right? And I appreciate some people prefer more of the, very cut and dry. But anyway, it's the evolution of the podcast, right?
And it's funny because you look at the top 5 most popular podcasts on audio, and, we've got 2 of the top 5 are sort of to do with weight loss.
Yeah, well, that's always very popular, right? And we knew that. I mean, the first episode we did was on fat loss because that is the most popular. People want to know, what are the new hacks? What are the new tricks? Is there a golden bullet? Is there something that I'm doing that I shouldn't that can make all the difference? So people are always going to be interested in that, right?
That's amazing. And, the top podcast is on leptin and ghrelin, which is understanding the appetite. So people obviously have a passion for regulate because that's what it's all about. One of my favourite podcasts we did was, and not that I'm endorsing this product or anything, but it was on an injectable semaglutide, which is the injectable, I won't mention the brand name, that stops you eating.
Yeah.
And it's like that's now the biggest selling drug and sold out in Australia.
I know. And people know now. A lot of people know that there are some really negative side effects, but they don't care. They're still prepared
cancer?
to.
And it's listed on the website. It's not like, I made that up. It's conspiracy theory.
So, Matt, can you pull up the first episode with Steve-O in it? Because I'd like to hear this. Steve-O, you were just a young whippersnapper back then. What year was that? That was 20... Is this Steve?
It's May of 2005.
Is that the first Steve podcast?
Yes. First was he was a guest.
Welcome to the ATP Project, delivering the irreverent truth about health, aging, performance, and looking good. If you're sick and tired of being sick and tired, ready to perform at your best, or somewhere in between, then sit back, relax, and open your mind as Jeff and Matt battle the status quo and discuss everything health-related that can make you better.
It's Matthew Legg here today on the ATP Project, interviewing Steve Eadie. Steve-O's a good friend of mine and one of the smartest men I've ever met, nicknamed the Walking Encyclopedia. So I've talked you up, Steve-O, but thank you for giving us your time today.
No problem at all. I hope I can live up to that title.
Too easy, mate. We'll make you look smart.
Correct, yes. I run a college on the Gold Coast, and I also lecture around Australia in nutritional medicine. I do. My master's was in actually insulin resistance. My PhD is in cardiovascular disease and diet, and that's almost completed now, so that's good news. Before that, I was a naturopath many years ago. I did a degree in complementary medicine, and I've been teaching nutrition for the last...
So, Steve, that was your first podcast, so that was done by phone?
I'm pretty sure the first one was by phone.
Wow.
And then I came in for a one-off one, and it was great.
So when did you come on staff with us, Steve? What year was it?
I'm going to say it was 2016-ish.
2016.
Oh,
have you got a cheat sheet there, Matt?
Jeez. How do you...
Episode 93 was when you became a host.
Oh, okay.
Wow.
So, that was... it was probably 2016, 17, something like that.
Yeah.
It's a long time ago.
So
was it Logan Hope, in that area?
Yeah. We had a lot of fun. So in terms of, I think, some of the most pivotal and key moments, Steve, there's been a few.
Yes.
But one of my favourite launches and one of my favourite products ever is Gut Right.
Yeah.
Now, there have been a lot of imitators. When we did this, there was a few gut health products in the marketplace, but nothing of any seriousness. Now, I said to Tone, let's go all out. Let's create some really good marketing on this product. Not because we just wanted hype, but because it was an unusual product. Yeah. It tasted pretty terrible. The first iteration of Gut Right when it came out literally tasted like a wet dog smells.
Yeah,
it was horrible.
Disgusting.
Anyway, we got it to a point where it was less horrible. And even for those wussies that still hated Gut Right, we created Gut Right Daily, which removed one or two of the ingredients that were really bad, and we put some sweetener in there. And even my boys will sort of drink that as a reason, especially the chocolate. It's quite reasonably nice. And look, I had one the other day, a raspberry one or a cranberry one. I can't remember because we had cranberry for a while, and it was actually really quite nice. It's quite palatable. But Tony created some animation. I created some lyrics, and you created some music.
Yes.
So. This launch, this got over 2 million downloads before it was taken down, right? So it was huge, and it was kind of a lot of bit of fun. And what's funny is I can actually remember the song, even to this day, I can remember the song.
Yes.
So, all right. Anyway, Matt, do you want to play it, and we'll Guys, if you're watching, if you're listening, it's kind of fun. But if you're watching on YouTube, you can actually see the animation that we've done at the same time as well too. That Tony did. So anyway, go for it.
G'day guys, how you going? Oh, Steve, what happened to you?
Stupid designers lost my original file, haven't they?
Oh man, I was going to say you look different, but mate, it happens to the best of us. Oh Matt, you look green.
Oh.
Stop.
In the name of love?
No.
Hammer time.
No. Stop. Collaborate and listen. Yo, VIP, let's kick it. All right, stop. Collaborate and listen. ATP's back with its brand new invention, something to grab a hold of you tightly. Go to the bathroom daily and nightly. Will it ever stop? Yo, I don't know. Turn off the lights, it might glow. To the extreme, I rock the John like a vandal. Light a match or a lovely scented candle. Dance, rush to the toilet and boom, I'm killing the parasites with poisonous mushroom. Deadly, little scoop with a melody. You killing these bugs should be a felony. Love it or leave it, you better make way. Go to the toilet, gut bugs won't stay. If there was a problem, yo, we've solved it. Check out the sounds while the gut right dissolves it.
Gut right, baby. Gut right, baby.
Oh, it's a Klebsiella. No, hang on. Hydrogen sulfide. That could be
Yeast?
yeasty. Yeah, that's yeast.
You love this crap, don't you, Steve?
Love it. Live for it. Oh, where's Matt gone?
Well, hopefully he's going to get his gut right.
Hey, you guys want to get your gut right too?
Terrible. I'm amazed I didn't get a Grammy for that one.
Oh,
holy cow, Steve, that was bad. But that got over 2 million downloads on YouTube. I think it got taken off, obviously, because of copyright infringement on the music.
Right.
But that was a lot of fun, and we had we actually had a gut right seminar that we did, which went really, really well.
Really well.
And that was the beginning of the polyphenols and how things work. And what's amazing is the amount of feedback and the amount of results that we got with that product were absolutely brilliant. And then we saw the raft of copycatters, and this is the thing that made me spew. There's quite a few that came out, and they were just, Steve-O, on a scale of 1 to 10, they were rank. They were just rank
zeros because they you know, when you copy a product, you try and make it as good or better because you've got the product. They didn't even make it half.
No, they just good. Do you know what they do? They put gut on it.
Yep.
They ride on the tails of obviously what we've done.
Yeah.
They'll make it taste better.
Yeah.
Maybe make the price point maybe a little bit better. Spend a crap ton more marketing.
Yeah.
Put some nice TNA on it, and you know what I mean, like tits and ass. And then just try and sell it based on something else. It is the industry.
Yep.
There's no point in hating on it. It just is what it is. But every time you see it, I just want to slap myself on the forehead. But that was a lot of fun. That was
fun. And that was back in the good old days, if we can call them that, you know, the days pre-COVID and pre-19, all that sort of stuff.
Yeah, it was.
Incredible stuff, but quite funny. I'm sort of glad the singing was edited out.
yeah, it was pretty bad. But Matt, you'll do the original. All right, yeah, cool. So
yeah.
Matt, hopefully we'll have the original one.
Oh goodness,
with that in there. So Steve-O, I think one of my favourite moments as well too, and I actually, this probably, don't take this the wrong way, I don't think you were there, but is when we actually had a lot of the seminars that we did and a lot of the trade shows that we did. Did you come with us down to Darling Harbour when we had a trade show down there? I can't remember.
Darling Harbour,
because I remember Brooklyn and
I think I did. Was this the launch of Gut Right?
No, this was we went out for dinner, and I think this is when in 2016 or 2017, and we won a whole heap of awards.
No, I didn't go to that.
And it had Grant, and actually it might have been a bit later than that. Might have been 2018,
right?
And Brooko and Elsa, and we just went down, and we had all the reps with us as well too, and we used to go out and celebrate after the trade shows. I just remember laughing with Brooklyn specifically so hard. I still to this day just remember that so fondly because Brooklyn was she's just a lovely girl, and she was so much fun, and we were just laughing and having so much fun. We're helping a lot of people, and just every day, like on a Sunday, I'd be like, I can't wait to get into work.
Yeah.
I can't wait to get in. I couldn't wait to get the testimonials and the feedbacks. I couldn't wait to hear about how we were actually impacting people's lives and getting into the R&D and all the rest of it. And it was fresh and it was fun and it was exciting, and it was just a great vibe. It was just everything that we were doing was just a lot of fun.
Yeah. Yeah, it is. I mean, I love doing these podcasts because I love talking about health. So, but it didn't compare to that. That would have been amazing.
Doing these podcasts is the highlight of my week. Every week on Thursday morning, I get up and I'm like, can't wait to get in there, can't wait to do that. But and look, actually, it's probably a good opportunity now to talk about my replacement.
Oh yes,
which is Nicole Brown. Now, Nicole used to work for the company and has done a few of the podcasts, Matt as well.
Yeah, she does.
And I remember doing one with her. She's great. She's smart. She's our sort of people. She's down to earth. So she's going to be a great.
It's going to be fun.
Co-host with you, Steve-O, taking over. In fact, look, I'd imagine that the intelligence of the podcast will probably go up a crap ton. So
probably I was looking at the audio compared to video downloads, and surprisingly, Jeff, we don't get as many video downloads because we're so good looking.
Well, I was thinking about that. It's not actually because we're not attractive anymore, Steve. What it came down to is that I think we cut our teeth on Spotify and Libsyn and all that sort of stuff. So we kind of. I don't want to say this, but we're kind of a big deal on that note. But
3.4 million.
We're a bigger deal. But anyway, all I was going to say is that if you're not watching on YouTube, you're probably not missing out on much. But that's all right. So Steve-O, we're from here, mate. We're from here.
Well, like going forward, there's going to be Nicole here, which is going to be great, and we're going to try and continue the fun. She is a fun person too.
Yeah, she is.
She's a brain, but she's a fun person too. So going forward, it'll be similar things. We'll talk about health topics. It'll be fun. We'll miss you though, because the personality and your knowledge, like. What always amazes me is the fact that, you didn't do multiple degrees, but you know so much about the industry and about the products.
You can say it, Steve. You're not half as dumb as you look.
I
think, well, that's probably the best way to go.
You've got qualifications I haven't got.
Well, the interesting thing is, mate, is that when I first started this and when I started the supplement then back in 2002, and I already had probably the best part of, I don't know, 5 or 6 years where I was just really interested in what was going on. EAS was big back then, Bill Phillips. I love that guy, right? Yeah. Like he was just at the cutting edge, overcharged for his supplements, oh my Lord. But like he was great. But I just spent a long time trying to serve customers, trying to work out. And it was through one of my major mentors in life in terms of everything, and keep coming back to this, is that Zig Ziglar said, if you want to get where you want to get in life, you've got to help as many people to get where they want to go. And that was it. It was just through service. It was just right. An athlete would come in, a footballer would come in. Hey, I want to put on more muscle. Hey, I want to get stronger. And I just researched that, and I spent a lot of time on bodybuilding.com going through their glossaries, going through their forums. Big Cat was one of the guys that you did a lot of writing, and I'd spent a lot of time. And that was he's called the Big Cat. Big Cat. That was that was his sort of his name. But it's like his pen name. But he and all the magazines and all that sort of stuff. Same as Mick as well too. Mick Gelly, remember? And being around bodybuilders and asking them, hey, what did you do? How did you do it? Because as you say, bodybuilders and these sorts of athletes wouldn't be afraid to try stuff. And they just experiment on themselves to work out what was going on. I'm not talking about steroids. I'm just talking about health, wellness, nutrition, protein, all that sort of stuff. So,
Mick Galley, I used to talk to him about what he used to try in the 90s. Firstly, he'd buy it from a veterinary surgeon.
Sure.
So that's always where you
Horse
start.
And hound. Yeah.
Yep. It was just, dodgier. But that sort of expand the knowledge.
Yep.
And people experimenting is amazing, pushing the limits. Like there are still bodybuilders this very day who are just saying, okay, if you're taking a gram of testosterone, I'm going to take 1.5 grams and be better. And this is pushing the limit of what we know. Now, most of that's crazy, but I mean, this is pushing the limit of human nutrition. I love it. It's a fascinating area.
It is. Well, and I guess that kind of brings us, full circle in terms of, where we are today. So why am I leaving, and why, and what am I going to do next? Because I know that a lot of people are probably going to want to know. So, look, the thing is that Tony and I are still shareholders in the company. We still love the company. Love you. You know, love the team that's here as well too. There's been a lot of people leave. I think what happens with the company is that, especially when founders leave, there's a culture shift and a change. And I think the company is becoming a bit more sophisticated. I think the company, I mean, we've got some incredibly professional people that have come on board. I mean, Jeff Cockrell was the CEO of Subway, and he came on to create that structure and that relationship with Woolworths, Coles, that sort of company, if that made sense. You know, Steve, you and I have always been about information, education, and research, development, and podcasts, right? Like that's kind of what we do.
Yeah.
And I've had a great time doing it, but I recognize as well too that what I love, and Tony loves more than anything else, is we love the startup. We love being agile and nimble. And it's kind of funny because we've done it a few times now, and both companies that we've done have lasted for 10 years. And then we have, for one reason or another, we've kind of moved on to the next thing.
Yeah.
So at the beginning of the year, Tony and I, we just felt like it was time.
Yeah.
We just felt like we needed something new and we needed something fresh. And it's not that I don't love being on the podcast. It's not that I'm not passionate about the products that we sell, specifically underrated products and like gut right. Like they're thinking freaking. And look, if you're a practitioner and you're listening to this as well too, Steve-O, get a hold of Steve-O and get the clinical data on that. It's just absolutely wonderful.
Phenomenal.
But it's time for us to do something different.
Well,
something
10 years
really
is
fresh.
that, you know, with the college owned, that was 10 years, almost exactly.
With what, sorry?
Health Schools Australia.
Yeah, right.
That was 06 to 16, really.
Yeah.
So quite incredible. It just happened to be 10 years as well.
Yeah, yeah.
So quite amazing. You
And
know,
look,
it's 10-year cycles.
We've built a pretty good team here. We've got some new people in and a new culture, new direction. And that's good. That's all with our blessing. I mean, that's all, you know, getting into Coles, getting into Woolworths, touching as many people as possible, not the way you do, Steve, but, but you know what I mean? Like we want to get in front of as many people as possible. And that means that the brand has to evolve. Yeah. Who Moved My Cheese is one of the best books I've ever read.
That's a great book.
And people, if you haven't read it, you could read it in an afternoon, but basically it means that nothing ever stays in a vacuum. Nothing ever stays exactly as it is. It really doesn't. Things are changing all the time, and you have to adapt your approach to that. So after COVID, online became very, very big. Stores changed, but also the access to people changed as well too. So one of the things that ATP Science wanted to do was to get in front of people and provide a solution for them, which would then build the visibility of ATP a lot higher. So we do that with the podcast, obviously, but the second one with the bars is that protein bars that taste like confectionery that are sold in Coles and Woolworths, people then get to know ATP Science. They then start looking at us. They come and they deal with us directly online, but they also then go out to the health food stores, the specialty stores, the ASNs, the Nutrition Warehouse, the Elites, the I'm going to forget it, the boys over in WA as well too, Muscleworks.
Fat Burners.
You know, you've got all of them out there, right? I mean, and again, you've got Melon Lucky down in New South Wales. You've got the Mass Mackay up in Mackay.
Yeah.
You know, Mass up in Mackay, I should say. Like, there's so many in this. And look, please forgive me if I'm not mentioning you, because there's so many great stores out there that we've dealt with. They've all got their own personality and their own ways of doing things. But it's been a privilege and a pleasure to be able to work with these guys. And they are the experts. And one of the things that we always did is we always wanted to build a strong relationship with the retailers out there, because they've got the relationship in the community. When you want to go in for advice, yeah, you can buy stuff online, and that's great, don't get me wrong. I mean, obviously, but it's that building that relationship and that trust, and we wanted to be a part of that. So, yeah, things obviously changed after COVID, but we wanted to keep that funnel of people coming through and get new customers in. And that's why obviously we spent a lot of time, effort and energy on the bars. It wasn't just about creating a bar that bodybuilders and people could use to get more protein in, which it was, but it was actually introducing a whole new class of people to supplementation, health, wellness, come into this podcast and learn about who we are and what we have to say about how they can improve themselves.
Absolutely. Now, speaking of podcasts, what have you had any of this stuck out in your mind that you remember of the 400 that you've done? I mean, you know, I've done close to 300 or something.
One of my favourite podcasts is really funny. It was actually a really low-rated one, but it was with the guy who did the paddling up the river.
Bo.
Yeah. That was great.
Yeah.
Do you have any of that, Matt? Do you have that?
I thought I had.
That's okay. That's okay.
That's right. But Bo was great because I got fascinated with the guy because he lived about 90 kilometres from work at Monash in Melbourne, and he lived out in sort of rural Victoria. And I'm a Victorian, so I was semi-interested. And he said, I drive in, once every whatever. And he said, one day I'm going to just walk in. And he walked in 90 kilometres to work overnight. Took him 2 days, and he got there. And it's like, wow, what an amazing... And he slept on the side of the road, and he didn't take anything with him, not even any water or anything, and just found change on the side of the road. Roundabouts, he was telling about how the roundabouts, everything falls off the side of your truck, so you find things. And the guy that paddled to work too, he paddled via Western Port Bay or something. It was incredible.
The other ones I absolutely loved were the ingredients podcast as well too, specifically the pomegranate, probably one of my favourites. Even just recently, the garlic one. Every time we do one on a herb or an ingredient, that's my new favourite ingredient, right? Oh, yeah. The one on paprika was like, where we did the different spices.
The 5 spices.
So on everything, I'm throwing paprika on everything now, right? Food is medicine whole thing as well too. Like anytime when we're talking about nature, anytime when we're talking about, spices or herbs, ashwagandha, turmeric, and I know that a lot of people know these things, but when we do a deep dive, Steve, and you break down the science, I just go, man, my appreciation and love for these things goes to a whole new level. And I look at that and I know that we say nature knows best. I know that, and I get so frustrated. I get so frustrated with the state of the world when large corporations work hand in hand with government and say, these things are no good for you. You can't use these ingredients. You can't use these compounds. When we did Chinese wormwood, oh my gosh, Artemisia annua, unbelievable power.
Yeah.
But yet you can't patent it. There's no money in it per se.
Yeah.
And this is what I'm passionate about. And eventually these things will get sidelined, whether made redundant, you can't talk about them, they'll be underdosed or whatever it will have to be. Again, I'm very cynical in terms of the way that I view the world because my fundamental belief is that money rules the world and that he who controls the money controls the information and controls your life. And I think it's only getting more and more further down there. But I celebrate nature. I just love it.
Yeah.
I just love hearing about the benefits of all of these compounds and how they can impact on people's lives.
It's amazing. The most popular podcast on YouTube, I've got the feeds in front of me, is the one on Tongkat Ali.
Right. Fantastic
Malaysian ginseng.
compound.
Yeah.
Malaysian ginseng. It's just brilliant. I know that Joe Rogan did one on Tongkat. I knew that blew up as well too, So and when you hear about amazing herbs like this, there's so much more to them than what we thought. The ashwagandha one that we did just a few weeks ago.
Yeah.
That was unbelievable, Steve. That was so amazing. There was so much in that I didn't know, right?
Well, I always try and surprise you with them. But the Tongkat Ali one, and ashwagandha for that matter, ATP have sold products for over 10 years with those ingredients. Mm-hmm. And now all of a sudden, everyone, it's on Joe Rogan and all this sort of stuff. This is where ATP was leading the way.
Yeah.
As said, you mentioned CourtRx, that's got ashwagandha in it, and that's been out since, over 10 years.
Yep.
You mentioned Alpha Mars, and Alpha Jupiter now.
Yeah.
Those products have been out for over 10 years, and that has Tongkat Ali.
Yeah.
Apex has as Tongkat Ali. Yeah. So these herbs we've used for over 10 years, and that's what I love about the company, the innovation.
Yeah.
For the first gut right. We term it a modbiotic, and that's like nobody has ever come up with that term ever before. In fact, we made that up. I think trademarked it or something.
We have.
Yeah. So because it's modifying the gut microbiome, incredible. And the fact of no flavors or sweeteners, I love that. It's like I had a meeting Tuesday morning with a bunch of naturopaths, and it was the easiest conversation. Do you use sweeteners? No artificial sweeteners used in anything, anytime, ever.
Right.
What about colours? No artificial colours used in anything, anytime, ever.
Wow.
It's like, and they're just going, that's easy. What about this? But no, that's got no artificial, it's got no gluten, it's got no dairy.
Yep.
It's like, it's great.
Well, even the line that we manufacture here, we don't have any dairy on our lines.
No.
Now, typically, if you look at products and they say it's gluten-free and it says, normally on the back, if you turn it over, it says manufactured on a line that may process this, that, and the next thing. Now, I'm not having a crack, but what I'm trying to say is our point of difference is that we've tried to hold an extremely high level and a high standard here in terms of what we do, what we put into our products, and what we believe. And we always try and look after that. Now, and to a detriment at times, because it costs us. Because obviously we could be running, other manufacturing processes and products and other people's products and making money out of that. But we want to keep our lines clean. So
you can make whey protein till the cows come home.
Yeah.
Literally. But I remember, and also what I like about the podcast is we don't just talk products. Like one of my favourite podcasts doing was the one we did on weird fat loss without diet or
that was fun. That was great. Actually, I'd say that's probably up there. And the thing is, after 400 podcasts and so much, like I call it ATP time. I mean, didn't we do that last month, Jeff? That was 18 months ago. And hang on, that was, we did that years and years ago, Jeff. That was 2 months ago. You know what I mean? Like, you just lose track of time. But that was a really fun podcast. That was a lot of fun.
It's like, screw your diet, screw your exercise. And we're not about that. Yeah. We're about, if someone says, what do you do to lose weight? We'd say diet and exercise.
100%.
But the podcast was on nothing to do with diet and exercise, all about cheating.
Yep.
And I love that. It was about cheating. We've done podcasts on fat loss cheating with illicit drugs and, nothing to do with what we do here. It's totally opposite. But and again, those 5 top fat loss cheats had nothing to do with any products. Even you mentioned just garlic. We don't have a garlic product.
No.
It's like, sure, we have some with Tonkat Ali in it, but we don't have one with paprika or anything like that in it.
No.
It's just, we talked about it.
Food be your medicine, medicine be your food. So, Matt, a lot of fun, a lot of good info. And again, I hope people have enjoyed the podcast. I mean, like 400 episodes, there's a lot of references, a lot of stuff that they can go back and listen to. Yeah. It's been, and some of the testimonials, I mean, it was really sad when we weren't able to continue to do the health chats like we used to, because I really enjoyed
Helping
those.
people.
And they've been really good. I think we've helped a lot. So if you've been a long-term listener, thank you for putting up with me. So before we sign off, Steve.
Yes.
Anything else, Matt? Anything else you want to cover? No,
I think we've covered it. I was very interested to hear your favourite, but I'd like to thank you for the joy you've given me on these podcasts, because we've had so much fun.
We have.
I'm having fun now.
Yeah, we have.
Yeah.
Well, I think, as I said, I mean, Tony and I, we've been married since 1998. We've been in business since 1999.
Wow.
We sort of started our own business pretty much. We're just looking for that next thing. So I mean, if people want to stay, in contact with me, look me up on LinkedIn. It's probably the best thing to do. As I said, I'm still a shareholder in the company. I'm going to be absolutely barracking for the new pre-workout when it comes out. I'm super excited for the dual layer bars, which should hopefully be out. I'm hoping by Christmas. I don't know. Tony and I are going to do something that you'll see soon, but it'll be not in competition with ATP. It'll be something slightly different, but still in the still better for you. Let me put it that way. Okay. Still in that sort of space. Yeah. But it's been. And
are you going to make a guest appearance back on a podcast going forward or not?
I don't know.
I know. I don't know either.
I don't know. Once Nicole's in here, you'll probably be like, "Who was that loser that used to sit in her chair?" But as I said, it's been great. It's been over a decade. It's just incredible. It's really
amazing, isn't it?
It's
400 episodes.
How time flies. So
2015, the 23rd of February was the first one.
Yeah.
It's like. Do you remember the first one sitting around?
Yeah, I do.
The single microphone.
Well, we had a single silver microphone, and we both used to kind of lean forward, and it picked up every bit of noise, and the quality was bad. I think Tony on the first episode as well too. She was doing the editing, and I think she used to edit out all the ums and ahs and buts and like everything. Like Matt obviously edits the podcast now, but it's far more conversational, whereas back then it was very rigid.
Very rigid.
But I still remember we sat downstairs at Henry Street, and we're in the boardroom where we had a really solid marble boardroom table, and we were sort of sitting on there sort of doing it. And as I said, I think people have heard this before. We thought, look, we'll do this for a few PTs and maybe a few store owners, just sort of educate them on a little bit of stuff. we had no idea that we would become as popular with everyday people,
3,432,143 downloads.
Yeah, which is, that's nothing on Joe Rogan. He probably does that in a day. But in terms of a small Australian company, that was really just trying to bring something a little bit different, I'm pretty proud of that, so it's great. And as I said, at the end of the day, it's all about helping people. So, But with that, I think it's time for me to say goodbye. And really appreciate you, Matt, and you, Steve. It's been absolutely brilliant. We've had a lot of fun. And thanks for everyone. I'm not getting teary. It's just
I didn't know.
But thanks for everyone for listening. I really do appreciate it, and wish you all the health and happiness and success going forward. And I think we'll leave it at that.
Oh, mate.
Nice one.
Good sign.
All right. See you guys.
See ya.
Bye. Oh, nailed it. Oh, that was good.
Clap now. I don't know if you want another one with that microphone.
So, Steve-O.
Yes.
Lucky last Australiana.
Oh, good.
Mate, and it's a shame because, as I said, Keegan, thank you for this book, but one of the things that we didn't do is I didn't get all the way through to Z. I'm taking this book with me, so you can't have it. So
we're only up to D, though.
We're only up to D. But, Steve, I'm gonna skip to P, right? Because I kind of will look through and I just love...
I thought of a D one.
I love these things. So, all right, well, you go for D and then I'll go to P.
All right.
What's your D?
Drongo.
Wow, this is interesting.
Yeah.
Because I was talking to Tony the other day about my as dry as a dead dingo's donga. and it's funny because you just say it's really dry. But no, Australians have to make this huge saying out of it. But yes, drongo, or is that what you said? Drongo?
Drongo, yeah.
Idiot.
Yeah.
Yeah.
It's funny because Australians are terrible the way they speak. They usually try and let you guess what's going on, but they tell you what it's not.
I love that, Carl Barron.
Yeah. He did it.
He's got a great. If you look it up on YouTube, guys,
it's funny.
Carl Barron, and it's and I've said this before as well too, but I love it. I just kill myself every time. It's like they'll tell you what it's not.
Yeah. Okay, I'm going to ask him some questions.
Yeah.
How far is our other factory?
Oh, not far.
All right. How are you doing today?
Oh, not bad.
Yeah.
Yeah, when are we going? Not long now.
Yeah. How expensive was it?
Oh, not much. It's exactly.
It's true, though.
It is so bad. Tony's father is so Australian, quintessentially Australian, and he kind of like that. All right, you ready for the P?
Yep.
All right. So, Steve, I'm going to say these ones. I've got my wrong glasses on, so you have to bear with me, right? So I'm going to go for P, and then you tell me. Actually, we'll even start with the one with a pig's ass. Strong discipline. I love Australians. It's just so great. All right. Okay. So, you'll be flummoxed a little bit by this one, right?
Okay.
All right. Ready? So one word, multiple sayings, or multiple uses.
Oh, okay.
Okay. All right. Piss.
Oh, that's got loads.
Okay. So go with the first one you think of.
Alcohol.
Okay, that's the second one. Yeah. Okay. What else?
Urinate.
Piss. Yeah, urinate, alcohol. Yep, piss and wind,
which means you're doing something, but it's not going to get anywhere.
Yeah, no substance.
Yeah.
Yep. Piss in my pocket.
Well, that means you're flattering someone.
Yep. Piss it in.
It means you're going to do it easily.
Piss take.
It means you're having fun at someone's expense.
Yeah. Piss on.
Oh, piss on means we're going to start drinking.
No. It means defeat with disaster. They pissed on us.
Oh, pissed on us. Yeah, of course.
They pissed on us, mate. Yeah. Yep. Piss up.
Oh, that's an alcoholic drinking session.
Yep. Piss up at my place, mate.
Yeah.
And it's funny because it also says piss on. So you were kind of right.
Right.
Yeah.
Well, it means you're going to get on the piss.
Yep. And pissed off.
Oh, it means you're upset.
And finally, a pisser.
A pisser means it's a good one.
A funny one. Yeah, that's exactly right. It's a lot to do with piss.
Can I give you another piss, though?
Yeah.
What about a piss take?
Yeah, make fun of someone.
Make fun of. That's one I knew that they didn't know.
Oh, no, I just missed it.
Oh,
yeah.
Did you
I
really?
did. So all these pisses anyway. Anyway.
All right.
That's it, Steve-O. Steve-O, I'm gonna keep this.
Oh,
So,
why?
no. I'm keeping my Australian,
'Cause I kind of-
proudly printed in China. Yep.
I know all those, but I don't know them all.
It's great.
Yeah.
Absolutely love it. As I said, probably my
wow.
most prized possession. Keegan gave this to me, and he
That
gave
is-
it to me, Steve, not you.
That's awesome.
All right.
All
All right, guys. So, Steve-O,
Yes.
we're going to leave on a high.
Of course we
Right?
are.
So if people have listened this long, we've got a little Easter egg, a little nugget for you. Because it's funny, I was talking to the team and I said, you know what? It's going to be a sad day when I walk out the door. Why don't we create a song like the Gut Right song, right?
Gut Right
I
song,
love
Gotta Take
the
'Em
music.
Down,
Anyway,
yeah.
I had an idea, Steve.
Yeah.
An ode to myself, if you like.
Right.
Right? Which is find the top 25 love songs, but take out the word love and change it for Jeff.
Sounds like a great idea.
Yeah.
What could go wrong?
Well, I could go wrong. All right, you ready?
Yep.
All right, I'll start at 25 and I'll go up.
Oh, okay.
Your Jeff keeps lifting me higher and higher.
Your love.
That's what- That's it. Yeah, if you can sing them, you sing it. All right.
Oh, I'm not
all right.
singing them all.
That's How Strong My Jeff Is by Otis Redding. Do you know that one?
No, I don't know. I know Otis Redding sitting on the dock of the bay.
Adele, Make You Feel My Jeff. Yeah.
I don't think I should sing that one. Be booted off.
Wet, Wet, Wet.
Yeah.
Jeff Is All Around. From
Love
that.
is all around.
That's it. That from what movie? Can you remember?
Love
Actually.
Love Actually.
That's
Yeah.
it, yep.
Yeah.
Bee Gees.
Yep.
How Deep Is Your Jeff?
How deep is your love? Is your love?
You got to say Jeff. You can't say love.
Oh, okay. Sorry. I've got the words wrong.
This one's a modern one. Rihanna.
Yeah.
We Found Jeff. I don't know that one, but we found him.
I don't know that one.
All right. So Wings. Do you know who
Yeah,
Wings
Wings,
is?
Paul McCartney,
Yeah. Silly Jeff songs.
Had enough of silly Jeff songs. Yeah.
No, don't worry about that one. All right.
Yeah.
Let's just keep going. All right. I don't know this one. Leona Lewis, Bleeding Jeff. The Queen, Crazy Little Thing Called Jeff.
I know that one.
Mariah Carey,
Yep.
Jeff Takes Time.
Wow.
Roxette,
Yep.
Must Have Been Jeff.
Must have been Jeff.
Mariah Carey, Vision of Jeff.
Oh.
Eminem, Jeff the Way You Lie. Captain and Tennille, Jeff Will Keep Us Together.
Oh, that's
like
a
that.
great song.
Yeah. Andy Gibb, and a lot of people would agree with this one. Jeff is thicker than water. Tina Turner. What's Jeff got to do with it?
I knew it would be that one.
Foreigner. I want to know what Jeff is.
Yeah.
All right. What else we got here? UB40.
Yep.
Can't Help Falling in Jeff. Diana Ross. Jeff Hangover. Whitney Houston. Greatest Jeff of all.
Jeff of all. Oh, yes.
Celine Dion. The Power of Jeff.
Of course.
Which is a little bit like Huey Lewis. That's the power of Jeff.
Yes, the power of Jeff.
Yeah. Janet Jackson. That's the way Jeff goes. Oh. Madonna.
Yeah.
Justify My Jeff. Herb Alpine. That guy's in Jeff with you.
Who's that?
I don't know that. Herb Elliott. Alpert. I don't know that one.
Oh, okay. There you go.
This guy's in Jeff with you. What does that mean?
Wow.
And lastly, and
Yep.
probably, I say one of the best, the Righteous Brothers. You've lost that Jeff and feeling.
I love it.
And there you have. That's
Yep.
it. That is it.
And that's a crazy little thing called Jeff.
T, who works for us, she goes, you've got to do Snoop Dogg. Shaggy. Mr. Jeffa Jeffa.
Oh, yeah. Mr. Boba Loba. Yeah, that's right.
Anyway, bit of a laugh.
That's
to
funny.
end it. I had a lot of fun.
One
putting
word
that
changes
together,
a lot
actually.
of things, doesn't it?
It does, doesn't it? But I think it just helps you understand the power of Jeff. Of course, the power of Jeff will keep us together. So, in fact, what is it? Jeff will never tear us apart. Yeah. It
Yes.
says. Yeah.
Yes. That's right. No, that's never tear us apart. Yeah.
Yeah. Jeff will never tear us apart
That's right.
unless I leave, which I am.
Oh.
So, anyway,
All right.
mate, we've already said our goodbyes, but appreciate it, guys. It's been a lot of fun. All right, take
See ya.
care. Bye.